Hey guys, Banana Luck here and welcome back to another Guild Wars series. So we've talked about mages and defenders. Today we'll be talking about marksmen. So the two marksmen that I'm using for my lineup is Hatsut and Silas. Obviously both S tier units. Silas especially for single target. But you can see that I have Vienna to take care of the AOE stuff as well. Hatsut is just, all good, and with the pet with the nightmare faction bonuses, it's gonna be a beast even when it comes to single target defenders that come through. So those are the two units I'm running, and I think Hatsut, she's just all out good because there's so many use cases for her, right? If we take a look at her skill kit, where was it? Yep, you can see that her ultimate just bursts, so it's good for the AOE units that enemies do send through. And I think just her basic attacks, they do pretty much a lot of damage as well, and there's that defense reduction that takes place as well. So I think all in all, Hatsut just works well, especially you pair with a Nightmare unit because Nightmare faction bonuses. Because with Torador, it makes it so that all the basic attacks that Hatsut does has a 30% chance of landing an extra hit. So just one extra attack each hit. So I think that just makes Hatsut a lot more valuable. And when I combine that with other units like Salazar and Valeria, it just seems like a no-brainer that, Hatsut is all I need to take care of the more AoE stuff in case they actually break through my Oleg defense. And onto Silas. So not much introduction we need here. We all know how freaking amazing Silas is. And the reason why he's so good is basically his ultimate, where, when you activate it, it's gonna ignore the defense of the enemy. So it's just gonna do damage as per what it's advertised to do. It's not gonna be, hindered by defense and all that's going on. And I have him at Awakened 1, so that increases his attack speed even further when he's in his ultimate. So these are the two marksmen that I think are top tier. I think if you have them, people are gonna have really tough time breaking through your defense. But onto the other marksmen that I actually have, let's take a look here. We have Setram. So I think Setram could work really well with an Infernal set of units. I think if you have Twin Fin, Setram could work really well because we're not bounded by cost limitation here. But I don't have him placed because I think Silas and Hatsut just works a lot better, especially in the lineups that I have. And I think another notable mention would be Calypso. I think a lot of people have Calypso at higher than A1. So if you have her, I think running her with a Piercer faction could work really well as well. Idril, obviously, we don't need much mention there of how good she is. She's the MVP that helped me to clear Gear Rate 3, so I think having her ultimate proc and dealing damage before the units even reach your garrison units, I think that could work really well as well. And of course, if you do have any other good units, Brian and Purewin could come in really clutch. And I think the other notable mention is obviously Maul. I've seen people run Maul with all-out Northern faction set of units as well. Because Maul does actually inflict freeze when when he does his ultimate. Yeah, so inflicts freeze aside from knocking ground units back on Awaken 1. And I didn't get Maul until much later, so when I got him, I immediately placed him to Awaken 1 because it just makes sense to have him with that freeze going on, as well as the knockback, which is especially useful when it comes to Guild War because, objective is for them to squeeze units through, so having that freeze and knockback just delays that further. So Maul is honestly really top tier for this, and the low reach cap of 500 for his ultimate just makes him a really good contender if you don't have any other good mages going. In fact, I'll put Idril and Maul as the best epic mages in my opinion. I don't think Brian or Teowin will actually come close. in terms of Guild Wars. So that's for the units that we have. Obviously, all the very top tier stuff, but what else could we still run in the Marksman side of things? So, Cratch, don't want to mention him, don't want to invite him, into our arsenal of heroes. We already gotten Shamir and Assault last weekend, so let's hope we don't get him because I really don't see any use case for him. Saga, he's chaotic. I know he's single target and does bleed as well, so I think he's a really good contender if, let's say, you have a good series of chaos units going on, and if you have put gun especially in the last weekend. But I think the other worthy contender will be Hex. So Hex, he does magic damage though, so I think that's the reason why you will want to run him, because most of the time you're running units with high physical defense, because that's most of the fighters that we have, right? So having Hex will sort of just balance it out if, let's say, you don't have a reliable mage. And I think if you pair this out with an infernal set of units like Twin Fiend, Hex could work really well. I mean, I don't have Twin Fiend, I only have Pyros, so I'm not going to try it out. I think my current lineup just works a lot better. And I think he does do slow as well. Yeah, each attack that he launched has the chance to immobilize, freeze, so it's stun. Okay, so this is the increased damage. I think it was it this? Yep. So one of his random cuts is the one that actually inflicts slow. So all in all, I think Hex could work really well if you run a PSL Inferno unit. And yeah, I mean, these are just S tier units that I want to talk about. Razak is fine. I don't think he does any slow if I'm not wrong. I don't really use him. Yeah, I don't think he does any slow. But I think just in terms of AoE, if you don't have anything going on, like you do in Hatsuit, I think Razak could work just as well. But I think the really notable mentions here is Maul. I've seen him used to really good setups. So I think that's more the units that I'll run. And I think Idril as well if you don't have any reliable single target marksman. Lunera is a worthy mention as well. I mean, she is the faction lord. So if you look at her Awakened 5, you actually have a chance to cast Immobilize with your Dark Moon arrows. But of course, that's if you have her at A5. So yeah, I think Marksman is pretty straightforward. I don't think there's any other notable units. Most of these guys are single target. I don't think other than Hatsuit or Razak or Maul, these three of the AoE units are the only ones that I'll consider deploying. And just one quick note, when it comes to, your units in terms of deployment, I'll say that try to get your marksmen. If you look at over here, try to get them sitting at the back here. The reason why I won't place your marksman over here is because if the enemies are deploying the exploding bugs, I've seen people have their marksman explode here. So yeah, I think that's just one of the other tips I have. If you deploy them here, then the problem is if the enemy deploy archers or mage demon soldiers, they actually target your units here before they target the ones at the back. So that puts your units at risk if you don't deploy any healers. So that's just the other tip I have for marksmen. But yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you found the content helpful, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down if you have any questions below. And good luck for the Guild Wars that's coming up, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.